Good morning and welcome to this week's Grow, where we gather to recharge, organize, and work here as members of MWEG. We're grateful that you're joining us to learn today with our director of our Peaceful Root, Sarah Perkins, who's going to share with us about how we can have peace on earth and what that looks like and what the principles of peacemaking through MWEG. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Sarah.
All right, thank you so much. And hopefully I don't sound too gross. I've had this little cold. um, so I was reading in an article recently, and I read Christmas time is the halting of hate time. And that really struck me. Every single year, Christmas comes about at the coldest, darkest time of the year, right after we get the winter solstice or equinox, whichever one it is. Um, and this year in particular, it's coming at a time when I think a lot of people are feeling just consumed by division and polarization and discord. And yet, once again, as the days are getting shorter and as the nights are getting colder, Christmas has entered. I wanted to read one of my favorites. It's certainly my favorite Christmas poem, but just one of my favorite poems of all time. It's by Daniel Berrigan. He was a Jesuit priest who was also a peace activist. He was arrested multiple times for protesting different conflicts and advocating for peace and peaceful ends. This poem is called Advent Credo. He writes, "It is not true that creation and the human family are doomed to destruction and loss. This is true. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. It is not true that we must accept inhumanity and discrimination, hunger and poverty, death and destruction. This is true. I have come that they may have life, and that abundantly. It is not true that violence and hatred should have the last word, that war and destruction rule forever. This is true. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, the Everlasting, the Prince of Peace. It is not true that we are simply victims of the power of evil who seek to rule the world, but this is true. To me is given authority in heaven and on earth, and lo, I am with you even until the end of the earth, of the world. It is not true that we have to wait for those who are specially gifted, who are the prophets of the church, before we can become peacemakers. This is true. I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall have dreams. It is not true that our hopes for liberation of humankind, of justice, of human dignity, of peace, are not meant for this earth and for this history. This is true. The hour comes, and it is now, that true worshipers shall worship God in spirit and in truth. So let us enter Advent in hope, even hope against hope. Let us see visions of love and peace and justice. Let us affirm with humility, with joy, with faith, with courage, Jesus Christ, the life of the world." I read that poem every year at the beginning of Advent season because it gives me so much hope. And it centers me on, I think, what it is that we're trying to do at Christmas time and to reaffirm the rest of the year as well. Um, it's Christmas time again. It's the halting of hate time. It's the advent of hoping time. It's the time when we live and interact and treat each other in such a way that we can wish one another goodwill and actually see it coming into the world. It's the time when we greet one another with trust and with joy, even people we have recently felt very divided from. And it's a time when we can say peace on earth without blushing or feeling embarrassed about it, because we can actually believe in the possibility of its fulfillment. So, our commitment today and always at MWEG is to continue the work of Christmas in all of our efforts. We strive to wring out hate and injustice with the clanging of church bells and songs and work of peace and plates of cookies that we leave at our neighbor's doorstep who we are very politically opposed from. Uh, Sisters, this time of year and always, let's affirm together that peace on earth is not only possible, it's sure. We have glimpsed it again at the manger scene. The end.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. It reminds me of a talk from Jeffrey R. Holland, who, as you were saying, like, we don't have to wait. And if you have a belief of hope of the atonement, then the atonement's there and it works for you. And that's Christ being here and that peace being here with us. And I just really love that. So thank you for sharing um, that poem. And I will link it in the comments of the Grove for anybody that wants access to it, so that they can have it. But that's such a great message for us to go out at the end of the year, as this is our last grow of 2024. So hopefully for those of you who maybe like some of us have not quite felt that spirit of this holiday season, or and what it represents, that this is just a little bit of a, like, some kindling to get that spark going. So thank you, Sarah, for doing that for us, and always helping us remember how to be peacemakers, and where that comes from. So we want to thank all of our members for joining us for all of the grows, and we'll see you in the new year.